Welcome to video number 3. I've got so much recorded, I just haven't had time to edit anything together, so I'm very sorry. So I'll post this one, then the following week I'll put this next one, etc. because there's just so much I need to update you on. In this video I'm going to talk about how I planned and designed and then planted out my 2 main beds, as well as the one in the woodland garden, and various other things like that. There's also a new shed base that's gone down. What else have I done? I've also cleared the whole area at the back for the decking. Honestly, so much is done. These are all the plants that I'd grown and they're all ready to plant out now. However, there was supposed to be like this little blight of frost and snow, so me and my dad built this little plastic polytunnel to basically keep the plants that couldn't go in the greenhouse safe over that time. These are some of the plants that I was planning on moving into that other bed, because I'd obviously pre-planted those before I made the planting scheme, and now that I've obviously made it, they didn't go there. So this is all the plants. I did this whole spreadsheet of all the plants that I have, what shade they like, what soil they like. Honestly, it was a whole mission and a half to get this done. And then on the side I've got how many I've got of each one, etc., and then what times they bloom. This is my planting scheme. It obviously means nothing looking at it like that, but as you can see, all down the side I've got the sizes of each plant that they'll eventually grow to. And this is what I was basically using. I was out there with a torch on my head, my tape measure at night, and just basically trying to map out where each plant was going. Like I said, mission and a half. Probably was a little bit too excessive, a little bit too organised, but here we are. So everything now is being moved. So the primroses are being moved into the woodland garden. And those, I look at the name every single time and I can't remember the name, but they're these beautiful little pink moss type plants, and they're just fantastic ground cover. They look beautiful as ground cover. I was very worried that I'd killed this tree. It's a variation of a hydrangea. We moved it from a different location and planted it here instead. I am going to tell you it has survived, but only because I pruned it to the inch of its life. So it's literally had like 3 leaves on it and it's just about surviving now. I've got a new addition to the garden. I think it will look very lovely once these little pink flowers grow. They're fantastic ground cover, and I'm hoping that they'll spread and then cover all the of the base of this. These are all my primroses. I've been told that as soon as primroses take root, you can mow over them and they'll grow back. So let's hope that that's the case. This is the start of bed D. Bed D will eventually go all the way to the hedge back there, but I'm going to take it in manageable steps. So this is going to be ferns, shade-loving plants, everything like that. I think it will look like a really lovely way to walk into the garden, to have all those plants on your right. These are a few of the plants that I've managed to get out into the bed so far. It looks so empty. I'm looking at this with obviously new eyes because I'm editing this like 3 months after this was recorded, and it just looks so cute. It looks like little baby plants everywhere. This is me collecting some nettles from my garden, and I'm basically going to soak them down for about 2 weeks, and they'll become this phenomenal feed that you can put on your garden, and your plants will love it, so do that. If you remember from my last video, I may have asked you for your opinion on what I should do with this back area here. A lot of you were liking the idea of a herb spiral, so that's what I'm going to do. So I'm now taking out forget-me-nots and any other plants I'd like to keep. So I'm basically just de-weeding and taking out anything that I want and then putting it elsewhere in the woodland garden. And then eventually I'll get some rock and then I'll start building the herb spiral. All of the beds have been planted now. Just need to wait a couple of months and it will be in full bloom. The one thing I'm really struggling with right now is the grass. And currently I can't mow there because obviously the willow's there. So I'm thinking, do I need to go in, take out the grass completely, back down to soil and then mulch it? Would that work? So that the weeds of the grass doesn't grow there. Plus it looks a bit unsightly. Also my neighbour's lawn, beautiful, it's tidy, it's mowed. Mine looks like an absolute mess. The plan is anyway, is that all of this here is going to be where my composting bins are going to be. So this is all going to be gravel here, where all this really long grass is. So all of this is basically going to be like my work area. So my greenhouse will be there. In the future I'm hoping to get a bit of a bigger one because it definitely doesn't fill my needs space-wise. And then, like I said, compost bins will be here. And then the other thing I think I might have mentioned in another video is that I'm also going to fill in the patches all along here and all along there with chamomile. It's the variety that doesn't flower. My plan is that I'm actually going to plant these as an alternative to soil. It's so soft and it has this absolutely, when you touch it, it gives off this really lovely smell. So my plan is obviously to wait to get a bit bigger. This one clearly does need repotting, so I'm going to split this into maybe like 2s or 3s, just keep on repotting it until I have enough to replant this whole section of grass here and this bit at the back here. So the only place that I'll need to mow is back there in the woodland garden in the winter time. But I do need to figure out a system for along where the willow grows. So I'm thinking that might be the only thing I can do. But if you have any other suggestions of how I can keep the grass down without all that extra work, I'm open to suggestions. So my pond needs some more oxygen in it because my fish were looking a little bit sad and dormant. So I installed this temporary filter just to add more oxygen to the pond, and clearly they love it. I'm a bit sad that my wisteria hasn't done particularly well this year. So as you can see on the right hand side, growth is very good. It's got all its leaves on, perfect. But got more flowers on the left hand side but less leaves, so I'm not sure what I've done wrong. I didn't prune it last year only because I knew that I wanted as much growth as possible to obviously get to the top of the arch, so that's the reason why I didn't prune it. But I do know that if you do prune it, the flowers grow on new growth, but I thought that because of how much new growth there should be a lot of flowers this year, but there's barely any, so I'm not sure. So I've got a shed base going down here so I can start storing all my gardening equipment. My mum hired this man to come in and basically build the base. However, he built it with no right angles and with the base completely unlevel, which means that part of the concrete will be really thin and the other part of the concrete will be too thick, which is the potential for it to crack. So this is me the previous evening the concrete's supposed to be delivered, trying to get right angles and trying to get it level. My boyfriend also came over to assist and that was really helpful. But it was absolute mission and a half to try and get this done before we lost all the light. And obviously to try and get it done before the bloke would be turning up at 7 o'clock in the morning to deliver all the concrete in his lorry. This is the base finish. This is genuinely the only picture I have of it completed. But it is in, it's done. We're just waiting for the shed to arrive now. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.